Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Junk Removal Made Simple by the Junk Removal Authority. It's about 10:30 on a Thursday evening. Shooting this video very late tonight. I was hoping to have a chance to get this little studio set up with some lighting, but I don't. Did today. I want to go get this video shot, so before we shoot the next one, we'll try and get that done. I was in Charlotte a lot day-to-day getting some of our stuff taken care of there. Had a lot of year-end tax stuff working on, and then just some of our normal duties that getting bills paid and all that kind of deal on Thursday, so we're getting this video shot very late. However, it's an important one. It's one I think a lot of people are going to be very interested in, and it is how much money can you make? Now, I got to do all the legal disclaimer BS. This is by no means a guarantee. These are average numbers that a unit of this particular size is going to see as far as percentages and expenses. It can vary depending on how you operate, how efficient you are at operating, and your particular market as well. But these should be some good rough figures that tend to carry you across the country. Some of the income numbers can be a bit different. Your income can potentially be higher if you live in areas that are a bit more expensive to live. So this is going to be based off a location that earns $150,000 in its first year. That's gross income. Now, a $150,000 gross income in the majority of the continental United States should be expected. Many parts of Canada as well. $150,000 should be expected in your first year. Some areas you'll see higher than that. You know, if it's a bit more expensive, and some areas could be a bit lower. But on average, about $150,000 is what you expect to see your very first year. So, one of your top expenses all the time, as long as you operate this business, your top expense is going to be payroll. So at $150,000, you're going to show payroll somewhere, if you're not on the truck, somewhere around 35%. If you're on the truck doing all the jobs, somewhere around 17.5%. So, it depends how you operate it. You could very well operate and be on almost every single job throughout the year and get this $150,000 income. That being said, for those of you that are looking at this as an investment, you have a bit more money saved up, you're not required to have a good salary or a good income your first year, and you're able to put more effort on building the business and meeting people and advertising, marketing, and sales, then you should expect a higher figure than this. However, we're going to base our numbers simply on $150,000, irregardless of whether you're on the truck or off the truck as far as your gross sales. Now, 17.5%, that means if you're on the truck, it's going to be somewhere around $27,000 for payroll throughout the year. Now, that includes the pay, $12, $11, $12, $13 an hour to the hourly worker. It also includes Social Security and Medicare, the portion that the company pays. All that's worked into this. This figure does not include workers' compensation. We're going to cover that in just a minute. So $27,000 if you're off the truck at 17.5%. Excuse me, if you're on the truck. $54,000 if you were off the truck working on the business or treating it like an investment almost. So your next expense will be work comp. Now, depending on your state, if you only have 1 or 2 employees, you might not have to buy workers' compensation insurance. I really recommend you get that. The way you always want to view insurance is if the worst thing happened possible, the very worst case scenario happened possible, could it sink me? And yes, if you have a workers' comp claim, if a team member gets seriously injured, it could sink you potentially, especially in automobile accidents and stuff like that. So, you know, if you're doing demolition work, that kind of deal. So try and get workers' comp. Now, the problem is, when you first start, it's going to be more expensive. Whereas junk doctors, we pay about 7% workers' comp. Starting out, you're going to be about 12. 12% of 150,000 is 3,240 on 27,000 payroll, and that's not 12% of your income. It's probably not going to be able to see this. It's 12% of payroll. So 3,240 on 27,000 payroll, 6,480 on $54,000 payroll. So for the money, when you're first starting out, your payroll is low enough, go ahead, guys, go to get workers' comp insurance. Don't try and save $3,240 or $6,480 for your very first year and risk losing your business and your house or whatever else should there be a big injury going on. Disposal fees. Depending on how good of a job you do with donating and recycling and what kind of debris is typical in your area, this can vary some. Typically, you're going to be seeing somewhere between 7 to 10%. 10% is pretty high. You should be able to keep it below 10%. So for junk doctors, typically sees about 8%. And there are companies that do a little bit better job of recycling and donating, and we tell people that straight up, and we don't try and hide that. We do a decent job with it, but there are companies out there that do a better job on recycling and donating who can probably get this figure down closer to 7%. But 8% is probably what you're going to be looking at your first year in operation until you get your recycling and donation set up a bit more streamlined. So that's $12,000. Your fuel cost. Now, obviously this is something that can vary, and you'll have to adjust your prices accordingly if fuel prices rise. But generally, you're going to be about 6%. 6% of fuel or of income, $9,000. Your auto expense, repair cost, or your payment. We're kind of group this together. Low of $4,500, high of $12,000. Insurance costs. So this is going to be not workers' comp. This is going to be your liability insurance, your automobile insurance. That's going to, any bonding you have. It's going to fall under this. You're normally going to be around 1 to 2%, which puts you around $1,500 or $3,000. Now your advertising cost, we're going to slip this in up here for space reasons. Advertising, we recommend a minimum of 10%. We'd love to see you closer to 15 or 20% your first year, but advertising cost, somewhere around $15,000 to $30,000. 10%, $15,000. 20%, $30,000. And your rent. Rent is something you should control and watch. You could have it as low as 0. You could have it as high as about, you could have it higher than this, but $12,000. Now, your first year in operation, try and avoid the $12,000. Try and run this thing out of a storage unit, run it out of your house, something like that. And if you're running out of your house, you wouldn't want to have a 0 here. You'd want to be paying yourself rent for the space you use out of your house. But this is one expense you can watch. You don't have to have a nice fancy office your first year in operation. It took us 6 years to get ours, so we were out of a single wide trailer for the first 6 years. So watch this rent expense. One time we opened up Greensboro, we went to a larger office, and that was a mistake because we were paying, after utilities and everything, we were paying $1,400 a month on a location that was doing $150,000 a year. So watch your rent expense. That's one thing you can always control. And then you're going to have miscellaneous expense, about 5%. That's going to be office supplies, phone, internet, etc. Which is going to put you somewhere around $7,500. All right, so let's add these together. If you add up the lesser expenses here, plus the ones that are going to be the same, that's going to total $79,740 on the low end. And on the high end, your expenses are going to total $145,980. That will do your profit somewhere between $4,000 and $70,260. So, these are some rough numbers right in here. Chances are at $150,000 income, you're not going to profit quite $70,000, 260. You're likely going to be closer to 50, 55. I imagine your advertising is typically going to be a bit higher than this your first year in operation. And you're probably, even if you're on the truck, you're probably not going to be on the truck all the time. You're probably going to be off of it some. It would be difficult to work on the job, on the truck every single job. So realistically, you know, the highest number you're probably going to see as far as what you earn is going to be your first year somewhere around, I say, $55,000. On the low end, you probably would make more than that, because likely what's going to happen, unless you're just treating this as an investment and you're not really working much on the business and growing it, unless you're doing that, what will likely happen is if you're working mainly on the business and you would be down here in this 4,000 range, what's probably going to happen is, and especially since you're probably spending more on advertising, and then you're out there making sales, you're making calls to apartment complexes, estate companies, realtors, you're throwing luncheons for realtors, you're visiting professional organizers, and you're making business connections in all to increase your commercial accounts. Likely this figure is going to be higher, as much as 225. You can make that big of a difference. So when you get to this 225, that's going to bring up your profit. Now it's not going to bring it up by the $75,000 increase in income. It would probably bring this profit somewhere, and I haven't run numbers, but likely somewhere around 15 to 20 at that point. But the thing is, it would set you up for a wonderful year your next year. Your second year, you could likely expect you really should come close to doubling your second year. Maybe not quite, but you know, 250. If you're at 150 your first year, being at 250 your next year is certainly very doable, and I would almost be expected. Again, no guarantees. And then if you started out that first year at 225, being closer to 350-ish, that would be a very realistic figure. Doubling isn't uncommon. We did not double we doubled between our first and second year. We did it between our second and third. We doubled between our third and fourth, between our fourth and fifth, We've almost doubled between our 5th and 6th. So doubling's not out of the question, you know, when your business is young. Now, one thing that this does not account for is managerial time. As you develop your business, you must make sure you're getting paid a salary for the work you do, for your managerial time. That way the profit figure down here is accurate. What you want to shoot for after all expenses have been paid, including your salary, is a 15% profit. If you can get this business after all expenses paid to a 15% profit, you have a very valuable business, something that's worth close to 5 times its net income. So if you get a business that's making $200,000 a year, you've got a business worth $800,000 or $1 million. At that point, you can go out and sell, not even counting equipment. So always build this business with profit and profit margins in mind. Keep your advertising up at the start. Now, don't waste advertising dollars. Make sure you're tracking it and understand every single month you want to do it. And I'll show you a video later on how to figure your return on investment of advertising. You want to make sure you're profitable on advertising or breaking even. Advertise, spend as much money as possible on advertising, even if you only break even, because you're getting a cut. If you do a good job with that customer, you're getting a potential referral or referrals, and then also long-term business. By your 3rd year in operation, you should expect somewhere around 30% repeat business. By your 5th year in operation, you're going to be around 50% repeat business. So you got to make sure you're doing a good job, but you also got to make sure you're getting the word out. Junk removal is a very profitable business if you run it tight, and if you're willing to work hard, and it is extremely profitable for the amount of money you have to put in it at the start. Any questions at all that you have on this or anything else, you can always email me, lee@junkdrs.com. Remember, Junk Removal Authority, complete business units all the way, take it from the idea to opening day. Currently on sale now for $25,000. We've got those normally priced at $75,000. So you're looking at a $50,000 discount. Guys, we make very, very little money up front on a $25,000 investment. Matter of fact, we pretty much just break even. We're trying to blow these business units out there, get this thing kick-started. And then we're also in the process of developing the junk removal management app, and it's gonna be the best application out there and software out there to run your junk removal business. For those of you looking into franchises, this is the way you gotta go. I'm telling you, Junk Removal Authority is the way you gotta go. You don't have that long-term commitment. You're not handcuffed to that franchisor paying 10 to 15% month after month after month. All you're doing with us is you pay an upfront fee for the business package, the business unit, and then if you want to use our call center, you want ongoing consulting, you want to use our website, you want to have access to our national contracts, on down the line, you only pay for the services you actually use. So if you get to the point you don't need those services, you cut us loose and you do it yourself. But unlike a franchise, you're paying that amount even if you get to the point you no longer need the service. So this was how much money you can make with junk removal. We've got another video coming up soon. Again, any questions, lee@junkdrs.com, lee@junkdrs.com. And you can always call us 919-466-9322, 919-466-9322.